Right, we finally got around to changing Andrew's infusion set, so we thought it was about time we did the video. So first of all, we've got the box of cannulas, and then we've got the cartridge system, which we have to fill up with the insulin, and then the transfer set, which is basically the pipe work that goes from the cartridge to the cannula, and obviously then we have the insulin. Right, so the first job is to fill the cartridge. So if we open the package, and inside you'll find what looks like a syringe with a fancy tip on the end of it and a plunger. So the first job is to move the plunger in and out a couple of times just to make sure it's nice and free, because they're generally quite tight when you first take them out. So draw out air up to the measure, which is 315, and then put it onto the bottle of insulin, which is where I would then generally push the air that I've sucked in, drawn in, and we can then tip it over. And what we find is when we let go of the plunger, it actually draws its own insulin out because we've pumped the bottle full of air. Okay, it's nearly down to the 315, and the next job obviously then is to just check that we've got no air bubbles. So we give it a few flicks to get the air bubbles to the top, and we can then squirt insulin back in and draw it back out a couple of times just to make sure that we have no air in there, but a couple of bubbles again. Once we're happy, we've got all the air out and it's just insulin. Are you happy with it, Andrew?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what we can then do is pull the insulin bottle off the top and unscrew the plunger from the bottom of the cartridge and then twist and pull, and we've taken the top adapter piece off. We've now got a cartridge ready to go. Okay, the next job is to take out the old cartridge and the transfer set and replace it with new. So basically what we do is stop the pump. So we press the menu buttons until we get stop pump, press a tick, and that's it stopped. We can now unscrew the old cartridge in line, and we then tell the pump to reset because we're going to do an exchange. So cartridge change, press the tick, hold the button for 3 seconds, and the pump is now resetting and putting the plunger back to the start. And this is the point where we can swap over the old cartridge and line and discard those. We put the cap onto the new cartridge like that. We then want the transfer set. So unwrap it all, take the cap off, and we then just screw the line onto the cartridge and twist it until we can't twist any further, and that's ready to go. So we just wait for the pump to reset. There we go. And now we can tell the pump, although there's 315 in there, what we actually do is tell the pump that there's slightly less, so then we've got a little bit to play with. So we set it to 310 units, and then we've got a bit of a safety net. Give it a tick. It's now running through its own tests just to make sure it's all okay. While it's doing that, we can pop the new cartridge in and screw it down nice and tight. Okay. And then it says Infusion set prime. So we basically tick yes, we want to prime it, because what we want to do is get the insulin up the tube and at the end. So it says press and hold for 3 seconds, which we'll do. And we now have to give it a tap, try and get the air bubbles out if there are any. Have a look up the line and you'll actually see any air bubbles in the line. And once we're happy that there's only insulin and no air, then we can press the tick and we're ready to move on. You can just see it there now, a couple of air bubbles, there's a tiny one there. Yeah, we've got drips at the end, but I've got a couple of air bubbles, so I'll just wait for those. And that's it, I'm happy now, the air bubbles all the way to the end, so press the tick and we're ready to go. Okay, next job, before we change the cannula, we want to release his old cannula. So we'll put some lift-off spray, which basically just dissolves the adhesive, and we'll leave that soaking while we prepare his new cannula. So next job is to prepare his new cannula, ready to go into his leg. So that needs to be primed. So same procedure, open the packet, take all the bits and pieces off, and on the end of the needle with a little cover, twist and pull, and that's off. We can now just twist and connect the cannula to the transfer set, and we'll tell the pump that that's what we've done and we need to prime. So again, go through the menu, it will say infusion set priming. So again, we press and hold for 3 seconds. And here we go. And again, tap just to make sure there's no air. I'm quite happy about that. We can see the insulin coming up the cannula. So if we're happy there's no air and we see insulin at the end, then we can press the tick and we're ready to go. Okay, so now we peel off the paper so that he's got a sticky pad to stick to his leg, which is a bit fiddly. There we go. And we now position this on his leg and insert it. A bit fiddly. Okay, just raise the skin slightly. I'm sure Andrew's happy with that, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and in it goes. Smooth it down. Nice snug fit, and then you just pull the little piece off that helps you to hold it. And we can switch his pump on because he's now connected and ready to go. So, start your pump and we're away. So all that's left now is to remove his old cannula. Okay, so we'll check, see if the lift-off's done its job. It's not done a bad job. Sometimes you need a little bit more, so we'll give it another spray, but that looks to have done the job. So I'll just generally grab it like that and then give it a tug and we're off. And then you're just left with a little bit of mucky crud behind. So squirt some more lift off. A little spot of blood from the cannula. Clean off the sticky stuff. Looks okay. And that's it, all ready to go. And that's the job done, easy as that.